taking a special look at your life and how the Lord has led you through these many years, and looking forward to hearing a bit about your teaching there at Bob Jones and how the Lord was leading during that time as well.
Yes, and those were wonderful years.
Yes.
Whenever you get to work in a Christian university like you do at Pensacola Christian College, Tim, you're working with students who are going to go out and serve the Lord, and it multiplies your ministry. That's why I didn't go to Bob Jones. I didn't go to Eastman School of Music. I wanted to be a good choir director in a church. That's all I thought. Never thought I'd be a teacher. But God said, I got something else for you to do. So in the summer of 1959, I saw my good friend and former classmate at BJU in Oswego, New York. He was now the dean of the BJU School of Fine Arts, and he expressed an interest in my coming to teach at Bob Jones University. I had not gone to the Eastman School of Music to become a teacher, as I just said, but I soon realized that by doing that, I could multiply my ministry in the lives of others.
Yes.
Therefore, in the fall of 1960, I became the chairman of the music theory department. I soon realized that even the faculty who had been teaching music theory did not have a proper background in that field. So on Saturday mornings, of all things, I taught the music theory faculty with Dr. Gustafson's permission, of course. I was constantly reminded that students could take any rebuke or meet any challenge given if they knew that they were loved and respected.
Yes.
I think a lot of teachers don't realize that.
Yeah.
When you show them love and you show them that you respect them, and I would always say to them, if I can't teach you this, there's something wrong with me. I blame me. So, and a statement that Dr. Gustafson made shows what was happening in my classes, in my Vesper choir, and when I did the singing in chapel services with Florian accompanying at the piano. Here is what Dr. Gustafson said.
A strong sense of mission and purpose pervaded each event. It was not long before those dedicated musicians represented the thrust of the music department of the university.
And then Joan Pinkston, she was one of my favorite students. As a sophomore, I saw that she had ability. She was so sharp in everything. And she was my favorites then because of that. And she's presently a worldwide known composer and music theory professor. She has 25 former students who are composers all over the world and 45 former students who are music theory teachers all over the world. And here is what Joan Pinkston said.
Writing music is a tedious task, and a good arranger or composer must be willing to sacrifice the time it takes to perfect a score the way he wants it. Dr. Garlock was willing to make the sacrifice, but he could not create more hours in the day. A heavy schedule that left little time for him to finish scores added colossal pressure, his calendar often demanding that music be finished for rehearsal the next day.
That's what happens. Yeah, I'm sure, Tim, that happens to you as well. The things pile up on you sometimes.
Oh, yes.
In fact, maybe you shouldn't say this, but when I left Bob Jones University in 1973 to travel all over the world, all the places Florida and I went, where I felt God was calling me to that, they hired 3 people to take my place.
Wow.
And not that I do the work of 3 people, but because I was willing, and when they found out I could do one thing, they gave me something else to do without releasing the first thing. So, and Mrs. Pinkston, she was one of the few who recognized what I was trying to do with the responsibilities that I had at my alma mater. But now I wanted to give another quote that comes out of my autobiography, I being the way the Lord led me. Was the International Trombone Journal unintentionally complimented what I was teaching my trombonists and my trombone choir during those years when Ron Hamilton, who was 60 at that time, my son-in-law Jason, who was 17, and my grandson, and I was 80, we recorded a CD called 3 Generations of Praise in 2010. Here is what the International Trombone Journal said in their review.
A family group of trombone players across generations? Now that is a rare find. From a trombone perspective, the balance and blend of these three players, all playing classic Con 88H trombones, are exceptional. The dynamics, phrasing, and intonation are near perfect. Frank Garlock was a student of Emory Remington, and that singing trombone heritage is evident in all three players.
And I think I should mention that the voice teachers, even at the university, I'm not sure that this happens in Pensacola, but they have the idea if you play an instrument like a trombone or a trumpet, it's going to hurt your voice. And it really doesn't. And because that is what my teacher at Eastman taught me, and also my voice teacher, Arthur Kraft, who was one of the top. He could hit a high C when he was 8 years old.
Amazing.
And he said, if you're relaxed when you sing, you'll be relaxed when you play your trombone.
Yeah.
And you want to. My Emory Remington, my trombone teacher said, I don't play the instrument, I don't blow the instrument, I sing into it.
Yeah,
and so I think that's an important thing. And that's why even the Trombone Journal people noticed that when the three of us played together, one of us, I was 80, Ron was, how old was he? He was 60, and Jason was 17. You think how many years apart he and I were. And we could still play together.
Yeah.
But because we were both using the same philosophy, it showed up even our trombone playing.
Yeah. Yeah. And as this podcast ends, you're going to hear a sample of that because the theme song for this podcast comes from that very recording.
That's
and it's
right.
Jesus is Lord of Everything, as you're hearing playing in the background now.
Yep, good.